It is Garveyism today, Garveyism tomorrow, Garveyism forever, Pan-Africanism or perish. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, and I approve this message. Black power.
Love the life you live, lead the life you love. Love the life you live, lead the life you love. World is in trouble. Mama Kitty and Shancha, the face of a goodness and mercy, driven from the minds of the people of meditation. Deliver right lamentation, Jah. Oh, deliver right lamentation, Jah. Send us some goodness and mercy. Love the life you live. Lead the
Peace and Black Power. Welcome to another edition of Baba TV. Every time fire out here in Buffalo, and it's my absolute privilege and honor to be in the company of this mighty icon right here, this son of Dr. Amos Wilson, nephew of Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad, and all of the great ancestors who have walked in the great line of divine. Dr. Umar, I wish I had you around back when I was a young boy coming up in Syracuse. They threw me in special ed, and you know, they said I was emotionally disturbed. It was a white woman too that did that, and you know, so, but the rest is history. I came on through that. It wasn't nothing emotionally disturbed. I just need my dad in my life to whoop my ass a little bit, and it ended up happening, and it straightened me right on out. Him together with my grandmother, the black one, straightened me right the hell on out. That's all I needed. Dr. Umar, I heard you talk before about the religion not necessarily being the problem or an impediment for getting us to work together, or us inhibiting us from being able to practice Pan-Africanism. You said that the Honorable Malcolm X, he was a Muslim, but yet and still he was a Pan-Africanist to the core. He had two organizations, one who for the people that wanted to follow him spiritually, and another one for the OAAU. Can you elaborate a little bit further and to help clear that up for our people, please?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Brother Malcolm X, the Honorable El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, in keeping with the tradition and philosophy of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, saw the need, and he had the wisdom and the foresight to understand that our religious dealings should stay separate from our political dealings, that the religious indoctrination of African people can often render our political agenda null and void, because that colorblind mentality and that multicultural mentality can affect our political agenda. So Malcolm, with the wisdom of the Honorable Marcus Garvey and the forethought and the clear thinking of Pan-Africanism, started the Organization for Afro-American Unity to deal with the political issues that were affecting Africans in America. But understanding that thirst for spiritual development and that craving for religious guidance, El Hajj also created Muslim Mosque Incorporated, as you said, for those who wanted to follow him spiritually. And what I loved about Brother Malcolm's approach, following up on the approach of the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, was that he kept the political and religious separate, but still provided both opportunities for the people. When we talk about being holy means keeping the political and the spiritual together. So although institutionally the religion may be separate from the politics, in the real world nothing is separate, because the entire universe operates on oneness. But the need to keep them separate is essential, because black people have been indoctrinated to believe that their religion is the only way, that their religious creed is the absolute only way to go, and that everyone else has basically been determined to go to hell. And anytime you have someone who believes that they're right and everyone else is wrong, that's going to eat away at the unity. That's going to eat away at the solidarity. That's going to eat away at the need for us to come up with a consistent set of political principles. As Pan-Africanists, we believe in freedom of religious expression, freedom of spiritual determination. We absolutely uphold and respect everyone's right to their own way of worship for the Most High God. But at the same time, we understand the political importance of African unity in all things. When we speak of Pan-Africanism, we're speaking of an African unity in all things. That race first must be the creed that we stand for. Being African is more important than being Muslim. Being African is more important than being Christian or Hebrew. It's more important than being a psychologist or an educator. It's more important than being a Ghanaian or a Nigerian or a South African or a New Yorkian or a Philadelphian or a South Floridian. Being African race first is the only way we're going to come out of this situation, because unity demands that we consider what is in our own best interest before we consider anything else.
Doctor, I heard you, it was, I think, about a year ago, purely from a psychological standpoint, and you were going in saying, I'm paraphrasing now, about the YouTube and this, the addiction that it causes. You know, sometimes some of us, I really think, because we may have been improperly nurtured by our parents, and the accolades and from YouTube, the addiction that causes. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
The human brain is a very complex organism, and there are certain areas within the brain where we experience most of our pleasures, our joys, and our stimulations. And there's research that has been done, conclusive research, that proves the same areas of the brain that are stimulated during crack cocaine usage are stimulated during video game play. And according to the researchers, the stimulation cannot be distinguished one from the other. In other words, if you're looking at a human brain stimulated and addicted to video game play, it looks identical to a human brain that is stimulated during addiction to crack cocaine. And when we look at YouTube, the same centers of the brain that are stimulated during crack cocaine use and the same centers of the brain that are stimulated during extreme video game use are the same centers of the brain that are stimulated during social network enjoyment. So to make a long story short, you can be addicted to social network. You can be addicted to video gaming in the same exact way that you can be addicted to crack cocaine. Now, some people may hear that and say that's absolutely impossible, but absolutely it's not impossible. I mean, think about it. A child addicted to a video game will play that video game for 24 hours straight. I've seen children go an entire weekend, almost 48 hours on video games. No food, almost urinating on themselves because they don't even want to push pause long enough to go and relieve the call of nature. They don't want to do anything else. They don't want to listen to their parents. They don't want to play. They don't want to sleep. They don't want to eat. They are on a high. They are on a video game high. The same thing you find with crack addicts. And they can become just as violent if you interrupt their addiction. It's the same thing with YouTube. It's the same thing with Facebook and Instagram. We are witnessing the birth of electronic psychological addictions in the form of social network and video games. And as a community, we must oppose that. Which takes me to another addiction, marijuana. Now, I'm a big supporter of the Rastafari movement. My Bobo Shanti brothers are my fellow Garveyites and allies in this Pan-African struggle. And I have no issues with the spiritual uses of marijuana. I have no issues with the spiritual uses of marijuana. I have no issues with the medical uses of marijuana. But I take extreme issue with recreational uses of marijuana. Why do I do that? For the same aforementioned reasons. No addiction is a good addiction. Let me say it again. No addiction is a good addiction. Not crack, not video games, not YouTube, and not marijuana. We know that cigarettes and alcohol kill more people, okay? Cigarettes and alcohol kill more people than cocaine and marijuana. And marijuana is almost totally non-fatal in terms of an addictive substance. However, an addiction is never a good thing. So what do we find in marijuana addicts? They can also lose motivation to work. lose motivation to organize, lose motivation to do the things that are necessary to sustain family and to live a good life. No matter what you are addicted to, it will disrupt your lifestyle and your life pattern. If you're addicted to marijuana, you're not going to work. You're not going to want to spend time with the family. You're not going to want to spend time with your woman. And you definitely ain't going to want to come out and help us organize in these streets and put our youth together and put our men and women together to bring about that global Pan-Africanist revolution. So I cannot support marijuana addiction because it is another distraction. Social marijuana is another distraction to keep black people high instead of organized. Recreational marijuana is another distraction to keep black people high instead of consciously thinking about solutions to our reality. That's why I cannot support it. Any addiction automatically benefits the white power structure.
Ooh, powerful. And you mentioned on the last note, Dr. Umar, take us home with this now. Take us home. I have no more questions. You mentioned the Rastafari movement, which is very near and dear to my heart. You know, we learn from so many of the great teachers, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Francis Creswells, and Anthony Browder, Tony Martin. I learned from all of them, and I couldn't learn from them sticking to one stream of thought. I couldn't have all of them wrapped up inside of me, all of their teachings, if I was tribalized or just, looking at just the brother as being the one, the leader. And the Rastafarian movement was one of them. I didn't know anything about Marcus Garvey until a Rastafarian. I was about 11 years old, and I used to go over to this Rasta's house. I was about 11 years in Washington, D.C., and I would sit down, and it was so strange to me because when I went in his house, I saw black people on the wall, and it was strange because I wasn't used to going into black people's homes, seeing other black people on the wall. I was used to, my grandmom had a picture of John Kennedy and a white Jesus and Martin Luther King, that 3 collage with John Kennedy, she had that on the wall. And talk to me about the Rastas and them being, because I heard you say that they were Pan-Africanists to the core, and that many of us wouldn't know about Marcus Garvey. And when you said that, it hit me, because I had to think, and I was like, you know what? The first one who taught me about that was a Rasta.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Black power, Rev. Black power. Yes, indeed, brothers and sisters. Let me say this unequivocally. Had it not been for the Rastafari movement, Garvey and Garveyism may have been lost to history. It was the formation and the creation and the manifestation of Rastafari philosophy, thought, and spirituality and theosophy that led to the rebirth of the serious study and investigation into the life and works of the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, the provisional president of Africa. So I have to shout out the Bobo Shanti Rastafari. I have to shout out the 12 tribes Rastafari. Okay, I have to shout out the Ethiopian World Federation Rastafari and all the houses of Rastafari, not to leave any of them out. Much respect to all the Rasta, but of course, Dr. Umar Johnson, Naya Bingi Rasta as well. But of course, Dr. Umar Johnson is most closely affiliated with the Bobo Shanti Rastafari because they have elevated the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey to the level of a deity. In Bobo Shanti Rastafari Trinity, the honorable Marcus Garvey is in a trinity along with His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, and of course King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, the founder of the Bobo Shanti Rastafari House. So I have to thank Rastafari for not only reawakening the Pan-African world to Garveyism, but turning Garveyism into a serious spiritual movement. That's a whole nother level when you deify an ancestor. And the Bobo Shanti have deified an ancestor. So when we talk about God being black and the Trinity being black, there is no blacker spiritual movement than what you find with King Emmanuel Charles Edwards, his Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I, and of course the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. So shout out to the roster. And I just want to say to the whole Pan-African world, brothers and sisters, I'm happy today as I stand here in Buffalo, New York, and I want to thank all the brothers and sisters who came out today. And of course tomorrow, Syracuse, New York. First visit in 4 years. My last visit to Syracuse was Black History Month 2015, where I keynoted the program at Syracuse University. So tomorrow is going to be special. A shout out to Brother Ross and Twiggy. They're the first to bring me to Syracuse, and I'm just looking forward to uniting with them brothers and sisters. But I do want to say, now that we have the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, I'm looking for that to be a mecca for the entire black consciousness world. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy will be the Timbuktu of nation building. The Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy will be the Taj Mahal of Pan-African intellectualism. Brothers and sisters, we have a school for our young men and ultimately for our young women. We have a campus. The whole street is ours. 4 buildings, 2 schools, 2 gyms is going down. Please donate to the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Make your checks and money orders payable to the FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. In addition to the school, we will have the Black Women's Conference, the Black Man's Conference, the Black Journalists Conference, Black Economics Conference, the Midwifery Conference. We're going to put a community gym on the campus. We're going to have a state-of-the-art recording studio. We're going to have a state-of-the-art performing arts studio. It's going to be powerful. Meditation, Lamaze, how to eat to live classes is going to be powerful, brothers and sisters. I can't even describe it. If anybody's interested in getting down, send your resume to the fdmgresumes@gmail.com. Again, that's fdmgresumes@gmail.com. All right. You can also email me directly if you want to volunteer. If you have something to offer our young men and women, please email me, Dr. Umar Johnson at yahoo.com. That's DRUMAR Johnson at yahoo.com. You can also call me 8444 Dr. Umar. That's 8444 Dr. Umar. My upcoming schedule: Syracuse, New York tomorrow, Sunday, April 7th. Cleveland, Ohio, Saturday, April the 27th. Dayton, Ohio, first time, Sunday, April the 28th. Prince George's County Community College, Thursday, May 2nd. Newark, New Jersey, Sunday, May 5th. Hartford, Connecticut, Malcolm X Day, Sunday, May 19th. Long Island, New York, July the 14th. Nashville, Tennessee, June the 23rd. Orlando, Florida, August the 31st. Jacksonville, Florida, August the 30th. Tulsa, Oklahoma, November 2nd. Oklahoma City, November 3rd. The Bahamas, November the 10th through the 13th. Brazil is coming up in November. The Zambia in Africa is coming up in October. If you need a list of Dr. Umar Johnson's upcoming speaking engagements, text me 215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Get your tickets, drumarjohnson.com. Thank you to all my donors from New York State and around the world. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping me raise this money to buy this school. And now we have to raise $1 million to restore the school so we can open the school for the first time, August the 21st, 2020, which is the 100-year centennial of the birth of the red, black, and green flag. It is Garveyism today, Garveyism tomorrow, Garveyism forever. Pan-Africanism or perish. This is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, and I approve this message. Black Power.